Doctor Who is incredibly painful to watch. Um, and before YouTube goes loony and says I've hurt myself, like Facebook took down. I took this picture, I put it up on Facebook, and they took it down because they thought they must have thought I watched a whole episode of Doctor Who, uh, but no. My daughter, uh, she she cracked me over the head with it. No, she's a makeup artist. She's fantastic and looks awesome. Anyways, um, yeah, a couple of days ago they talked about Jodie Whittaker leaving the show. To be honest with you, I haven't watched Doctor Who in years. Ever since they announced Jodie Whittaker was going to be, uh, playing the Doctor, and I thought, okay, I already knew it was going to go down the tubes. As soon as they said that, the cat, the writers were all going to be, and none of them knew the canon of the show. None of them knew, um, none of them were science fiction writers. And Chip now, that guy, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea how that guy has his job. Do you ever sit there and watch something and just go, I could do a better job than him or her or it or them? You ever do that where you just sit around and go, how the hell do they? Who pays these people? Why would they pay them? You know, um, and people are going to say, what right do I have? It's progress, man. It's a female doctor. Well, that's bullshit. Doctor Who's a guy. That's how. I mean, I've watched the show. I started watching it as soon as Tom Baker, my favorite doctor, the best doctor. Uh, you know, and I've blown a fortune on toys and people for gifts. You know, for gifts, people would buy me, Doctor Who, and you know, I even made, I, I'd make my own, I'd make clocks and give them to people for gifts, all sorts of clocks. These are just a few, just all sorts of, you know, that's how much I love the show. But no, I don't even, a guy brings up Doctor Who to me, my neighbor, and I'm like, dude, I don't care, and people are going to say, well, you're sexist, you're, no, Doctor Who for me, and for a lot of uh, uh, young men that grew up watching the show, he was this father figure, and all the doctors were this father figure. And uh, for some reason, the world's nuts. Let's face it, the world has gone completely stupid. They thought, hey, let's bring in a girl, and I'm sure she's a good actress. Every time I watch her, though, I really do feel like cracking this, or sledgehammer, to my head, or anything, just to get rid of the pain. Uh, she should never have been the doctor. You know, do another show. I mean, they did Batman, Batgirl, and is played by a colored girl, and that's great. I'm not going to watch the show. I have no interest in Batgirl. Uh, just not for me. I don't sit around going, "Hey, Batgirl's on tonight." Let me put on my favorite dress and watch this show. I'm not. It's not for me. So I've invested a lot of time on, a lot of years on that show. And when Whitaker took over, and that stooge, uh, Chip now, that just to me, it's like zero respect for your audience. They've destroyed the canon. I believe Doctor Who. Somebody showed me a clip, and Doctor Who was a little black girl, and I just thought, that's it. I mean, they've completely gone stupid. They've wrecked the show. They've destroyed something that was. How do you do that to people that love a show so much, and you get the job to be the head, right, the boss, and you say, you know what, let me destroy this. And shame on the BBC to hire the keep this stooge around, you know. And I believe he's still going to be there, and I'm still not going to watch. And the ratings are, I believe they've dipped to 2 million. I mean, 2 million people watch that show. A show that was just, it was massive. And yes, all good things come to an end, but not like that. You know, should never come to an end like that. That's just, the show needs to grow, and yeah, it does, but just, you know, keep the same formula, good versus evil, and that's why people watch the show for years, but when you start screwing around with canon, and you've completely destroyed the story, the background, the history, and that's what, the fans that really watch Doctor Who, uh that was the whole, there was that bond you had, where something happens and you go, oh yeah, that, this is, 25 years ago, this is why that happened, and why that person came back, or you know um can it be fixed? I don't know. I don't even care anymore. you know that's how bad. I mean, when you piss off somebody, Doctor Who's like this. It's like this girl you break up with, or boyfriend you break up with, but you kind of, you always kind of ask how they're doing. you know you might even go on Facebook and look them up just to see, and then you're like, oh wow, they marry, a dude with a lot of money, and probably have a, giant penis or something, or your mind starts anyway. So that's my problem, but I'll get over it. So yeah, you kind of, that's Doctor Who, where I would kind of go, so what's going on, like what, and you hear about it, and you see a little bit of it, and you just think, this is disgusting, this is stupid. How do you do that to people? So, an example of a show that's doing well, and people are going to say, well, they've only been around for 3 seasons. I love, tons of people love Cobra Kai. Now, why do they love that show? Uh, because of the canon. You could go back from, all the way to 1982, and watch what happened. And the creators of that show respect the audience and love the show, and sit there and say, this is my baby. I want to show you what I've done, and I'm going to make sure that you're not going to call me out on certain things. Hey man, nothing's perfect. I mean, look at this basement. Nothing's perfect. You know, but they did something beautiful, and I'm sure when it all comes to an end, they're going to do it in a way that is respectful to the audience. Hopefully, I mean, if they don't, I just can't see them doing that. But I'm sure, they're going to keep it respectful, and that's the main thing. Be respectful and be loyal, and that is so important in any relationship. A show, like what these people don't understand, a show is a relationship. You're having a relationship. You're investing your time, and when you do not invest your time into a show, the relationship's over. You move on to something else. So can it be fixed? with somebody new. I don't know. I mean, the way you know, they've taken a dump on that show so badly. They've, I don't get the BBC. I don't get how the bosses at the BBC don't look at it and say, you know what? This is really turning off people. We got to get rid of this guy. And all right, if we're going to keep the girl, let's bring in writers and let's not have a show where she's just constantly telling people how you know bad they are and how things need to be PC. And PC's destroyed so much. I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be good, but the more I look at it, the more I go, wow, this is just, it's like communism. You think, I'm sure, in theory, communism should work in theory. In reality, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So, with that being said, uh, I hope some genius comes along and the BBC hires them. Could be a him or her, as long as they care about the fans and care about respecting the fans. Then you'll bring them back and people will be happy, But until then, they're just going to end up canceling that show. That's what will happen. And then maybe like 5 to 10 years from now, when people come to their senses, maybe somebody will take over and say, you know what, this is how Doctor Who should be. And that nightmare that the last incarnation of Doctor Who, uh, that didn't exist. That was a bad dream. So I don't know. I don't know how they would fix it, but hopefully they do, because there are so many Who fans out there that love that show so much, and so many of them have just left. And you know what? I don't blame them. So, anyways, I'm the Amazing Vito. This is just a flesh wound. Be good, respect each other, be kind, and I'll talk to you later.